Hello and welcome back to LJT MTG. I've got a fun video for you today. Uh, it is going to be me playing against a Discord player named Goif. They've so kindly agreed to play a match on camera on MTGO. Um, a little behind the scenes here. I'm recording this intro after playing the games, so I'm not going to give too much away, but I will say that the match ends up being pretty solid after all. I really liked the games that we played. I thought they were pretty interesting. And I make a pretty amazing blunder in one of the games that I don't think you'll want to miss out on. But before we get into the video, thank you to all of our subscribers. And if you want to be a subscriber so that you can see more content like what we're putting out, feel free to click it down below. If you end up liking the video, we appreciate when people comment on the video. And I do call it that I'd love people to comment specifically about the deck that I'm playing, which is Mardu midrange. So if you have any thoughts about Mardu midrange, you could always potentially comment before and then after the video, just to see like maybe there's some differences there after you've watched the deck play out. But it's just an archetype I've been exploring, and I'm really interested to hear from the community what your experiences with Mardu midrange are like. What are cards that you have found to be overperformers, underperformers, underwhelming, overwhelming, etc. So stay tuned. I do think we have a fun one for you today. Mardu? Don't tell me what to do. All right, so this is my deck list for the Mardu midrange deck that I made. I actually made it like 4 months ago, as we can see, is last updated April 28th, 2025. Um, the reason I wanted to play this deck today is because and I do go over this at the end of the video, but I want to front load it as well. When I'm exploring an archetype that I'm not really that familiar with, I like to play a list that feels pretty close to optimal, or at least like what I feel is close-ish to optimal, and then really get a bunch of games into like get a deeper understanding of what the archetype needs and what it feels like in an actual game of Canadian Highlander. And the thing about Lander is the format is pretty high variance in a lot of ways. Has a lot of, because of the nature of 100 card singleton, it can also be really hard to see all of your cards in like the particular lights that they might be best in, or maybe the darknesses that they might be bad in. So I like to get a lot of games in if I can, just to get a deeper understanding of the archetype, and that's what I'm doing here today. First off, the only planeswalker we have is Comet. And then we're just playing a bunch of creatures, just a bunch of good creatures. Basically, the reason I have been looking at Mardu is because I was playing Black-Red midrange, mostly Jer's list for a little while. And I really like that deck. I think that deck's really strong for a lot of reasons. But I was curious, like, can I make the combo matchup a little better? Or, is there something that white can offer that black and red don't necessarily provide? Things like Flage or Archon of Emeria, Aven Mind Sensor. So I wanted to try out a Mardu list. If it felt like something that like could have a lot of legs, and I personally haven't really explored the archetype. So we just see the best of the black-red creatures: Carnage, Interpreter, Fear of Missing Out, etc. But then the white cards we're getting are like Clarion Conqueror, Ajani, Archon, Aven Mind Sensor, Palace Jailer. I felt like Luminarch Aspirant was something that I wanted to try out. I think this card is a little better than it looks in terms of a fair card in a lot of potential matchups, but also might not be good enough, especially if you're dipping into 3 colors. But I've been really impressed with Luminarch Aspirant in Boros, which is a totally different archetype. But I like to try cards that I end up overperforming in other archetypes, and I like to try and move them into other deck builds to try and see if they can work their magic as well. Yeah, Palace Jailer, Ocelot, Pride, just a bunch of good creatures. You got White Plume as well, which is pretty sweet. Our points end up being triple Mox White Plume. Then for my sorceries and instants, the sorceries, I'm just playing your discard spells, as well as I actually think Faithless Looting is pretty good in this deck. You find there are a lot of situations where you find that like, because you're not blue, you don't get the card selection, and you naturally will draw things that aren't necessarily that good in certain matchups. So Faithless Looting can actually be a card that helps you smooth out your draws in really meaningful ways. And it is card disadvantage, but if you are Faithless Looting away, say 2 cards that have basically no relevance in a matchup, then you're actually up a card. That I'm not saying that is a great excuse for Faithless Looting being good, but I think there's like a lot of different aspects of the card that are worth trying out. And I've been actually pretty impressed with it in black-red mid-range specifically. I just find in a lot of matchups you do end up drawing like a card or two that you're not really that happy with or impressed with, among just regular basic circumstances like Faithless Looting away 2 lands when you have 4 lands in your hand. Um, then we're rounding out with Helping Hand, Unearth, and so just some reanimation spells, and then a bunch of removal spells and an Ephemerate. Artifacts we're playing. We're actually playing a lot of artifacts. We're playing Double Bubble as well as Quarry Steel Cutter. I think is a great addition to this deck. You definitely want to be double spelling early if you can. Pre-War Formulator, Skull Clamp, and the Quarry Steel are Stoneforge Mystic targets. Then we're playing Triple Mox plus Chrome Mox. Fable the Mirror Breaker, I love this card. I think this is one of the better Fable the Mirror Breaker decks too, which is cool. And then yeah, we're just playing like a Miser's Animate Dead. You know, we're playing Troll of Cosmic Doom. I think we might be playing Oliphant. I don't actually know. Let's see. We're definitely playing Troll, but we're not playing Oliphant. That's fine. I think the Animate Dead just works. And then we're just playing a suite of, like, you know, your basic Mardu lands, Arena of Glories, etc., Caracas, Wasteland. But yeah, I'm really excited for this deck. I'm actually recording the deck tech after we played, but the games are pretty interesting and pretty good. And if you stick around for game 2, you'll see something really special. All right, let's get the game started. I just need to adjust my monitor here. So we are playing against Discord player Goif, or Goif Never Lucky. I have no idea what they're on. I think I'm going to keep this hand. It's possible that they're on some sort of combo deck where Aven Mind Sensor could potentially be a house. The hand is a little slow if I do know I'm against combo. Like, this is something I would potentially mulligan. But Swords to Plowshares covers a lot of our bases if Goif is not playing combo. And then I'm pretty happy with Carnage Interpreter and Aven Mind Sensor. So I'm going to keep this hand. I think this hand is close to being pretty acceptable in most matchups, or is pretty acceptable in most matchups, but it's definitely close. So Goif plays a Flooded Strand and fetches right away into Underground Sea. Sea into Serum Visions doesn't really mean a lot. I think it's probably most likely Reanimator if you see something like Flooded Strand into Underground Sea, Serum Visions, but where it's more likely a combo deck. Let's take a look and see. Looks like 2 bottom for Goif here. So since I drew the Plateau, if I want to cast my Swords to Plowshares on the next turn, I would have to get Sacred Foundry with Wooded Foothills. Since I have 5 lands in play, I really want to try and find something to do on turn 2. So I'm going to play Wooded Foothills, and if Goif doesn't present a threat that like requires me to Swords to Plowshares it on end step, or it doesn't make sense to swords it on end step, then I'll just fetch Elegant Parlor, get the Surveil. Profane Tutor. Okay, so it looks like we are up against combo. Seeing Profane Tutor is pretty reasonable for us. We will have Aven Mind Sensor down before the Profane Tutor resolves. Also, Profane Tutor, like, knowing that Profane's going on the stack means that we know what we're looking for. I'm going to get the Elegant Parlor because I have Blackleaf Cliffs and Blood Crypt that I'm going to be looking to play. Savai Triome, we can definitely bin that. Let's put this Profane Tutor just bottom right here so we know that it's coming up, but maybe top left. There we go. Okay. So I bin the Savai Triome, untap, draw. Skull Clamp, not exactly where you want to be. I think... I'm trying to think if I want to leave up Swords to Plowshares here or not. I don't really want to take damage just in case I'm playing it's like Breach Storm and they have like a short tendrils line. I think I'm just gonna play Skull Clamp and then pass. Uh, this is one of the boons to playing combo is a lot of the time your opponents will be in situations where they have to keep hands that aren't necessarily where they want to be into the matchup, and so you get a lot of percentage points in the first round. Duress is fine; it doesn't hit anything, and then hopefully our Aven Mind Sensor sticks on their turn to eat their Profane Tutor. I guess it doesn't necessarily eat the Profane Tutor; like they still get a card from the top four, but it's definitely a lot worse. Conjurer's Bauble, fair enough. So it looks like we are probably up against Doomsday. Conjurer's Bauble really makes me think that we might be on playing against some sort of Doomsday deck. Hollowed Fountain's interesting. I guess Doomsday probably plays white for Silence, Orm's Chant, etc. Well, I mean, so we're gonna untap and we're gonna play a plateau, and then we're gonna. So here's the trick. Here's the tricky thing and the interesting thing. Do I want to play my Aven Mind Sensor not into counter magic? If they have instant speed interaction, they're going to be able to use it regardless. So I think I'm actually supposed to play Aven Mind Sensor on my main phase. I'm going to play Mishra's Bubble first to take a look at their top card. And maybe that'll change my decision process. I don't think it will, but let's get the bauble going here. Yeah, take a look at their top card, because I can't change the top of my library. If I could change the top of my library, I'd probably look at mine. Thoughtseize. That's a little tough for us, because we kind of want this Carnage Interpreter if this Mind Sensor is going to eat this Profane Tutor. We kind of want this Carnage Interpreter to restock our hand. I'm just going to play Plateau. I don't really want to... I don't really want to take damage here. So another reason to play the Mind Sensor on our turn is that if they are playing if they're playing what is it? If they're short tendrilsing, then I think playing Mind Sensor on my turn makes a lot of sense too. They get to draw 2 or draw 1, and they have a draw stashed with Conjurer's Bauble. So I know they have a Thoughtseize. And Profane Tutor is going to look at the top 4. So it doesn't look like they have any... How do I... Oh, it's just still on the stack. Okay. I see. So I don't get to I don't get to see the top 4, right? They just look at it. Okay, interesting. So I don't actually know what they get, which is pretty relevant. Drawing Luminarch Aspirant isn't terrible. I can just start beating down with Aven Mind Sensor, equipped with Skull Clamp for a 4-turn clock. Defense Grid, sure. This is a boon to playing like Mardu in these types of matchups, because your interaction just like doesn't really matter for Defense Grid or those types of things that people play. I could also be playing against eggs, theoretically. Although I don't think they played like Serum Visions. I think those slots are taken up by like actual eggs. So I know they have Thoughtseize in their hand and they didn't cast it. Ocelot Pride's a pretty interesting one. I think here I'm supposed to go Carnage Interpreter into Ocelot Pride, just attack for 2. I guess I don't really have to worry about them casting something on my turn because Defense Grid works both ways. So let's just get in for 2. Then we'll cast Carnage Interpreter and Ocelot Pride. Or we'll cast Ocelot Pride, then Carnage Interpreter, rather. Do I want to take 2 for double black? Like, to ensure that I have double black? I think I do. The reason I'm playing Carnage Interpreter instead of Luminarch Aspirant is because even though Luminarch Aspirant I could theoretically like to draw more cards with Skull Clamp, um I I value the clock that Carnage Interpreter brings. Like I have them dead within 2 turns if they don't have removal spells or anything. Um it looks like they're trying to cast a spell on my turn. I don't really know how they would pay for that though. I don't think they might have missed the defense grids both ways. Since it was a single blue, I am gonna assume that's something like Into the Floodmaw. Maybe just resetting my Carnage Interpreter. Okay, it's resetting my Mind Sensor. Fair enough. 3 cards left to hand. One of them's Thoughtseize, so they need the 2 cards in their hand need to be able to win the game. With 3 mana available. Could be Oracle. Oracle into Consult. Oh, I see. It's Citadel Storm. Gotcha. If I had thought about this being Citadel Storm, I think I actually would have been a little more aggressive with my plays. Like I think I would have played Luminarch Aspirant with Mind Sensor, equipped Skull Clamp. Okay, top is pretty good. I'm just gonna F6 here. Oh, so they naturally drew Tinker, or they naturally had it. I don't think they. No, they might have naturally had it because I did cast even Mind Sensor. Um, yeah, I think I would have been more aggressive with my plays. I think if I know that they're on Citadel, I am supposed to play Luminarch Aspirant, put a 1/1 counter on even Mind Sensor, equip Skull Clamp, attack for 4, get them down to 15. Because I want to be as aggressive as possible to ensure that they don't get to see as many cards with Citadel because of their life total. I mean, like I don't know that they have Sensei's Divining Top. I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised if they or sorry, not surprised, rather. I can't play around them having Sensei's Divining Top. I think the personal tutor here does it though, because they just get tendrils, right? Beseech the Mirror. Do they? I guess they just beseech for extra storm. Yeah. GG. Okay, so now that we know that we're against combo, that changes how we keep pretty drastically. Like Jared and I have talked about a lot before, I like keeping hands that are like kind of fill a lot of different roles in the dark, as I did there. And honestly, like our hand, like we drew pretty poorly in terms of the matchup post keeping the hand, and our opponent had to have Into the Floodmaw, into Tinker with Sensei's Divining Top to really like guarantee a kill. Like we still had potential outs to them just whiffing with like say, double or triple land, etc. But I'm gonna mulligan. This hand has no lands, which I like very obviously can't keep. The problem with Helping Hand and Pre-War Formalware in this deck, I wanted to continue to try them out when I was building it, because I don't really like, or I like having these types of effects. Like they can be really good and mana efficient. But the problem is like you get hands like this where you like just literally can't keep them because you don't have a threat. This hand is good. I'm definitely gonna keep this one. The main decision point here, I'm gonna get rid of Snuff Out. The main decision point here is when do I duress, and then do I keep the fetches or the silent clearing for the Flage? If I have double fetch duress, that's 3 plus 2 cards, or sorry, 1 card that I can surveil. So I think I'm going to get rid of the silent clearing. I think I'm going to need this mana to try and cast this Flage. I guess I'm not going to be able to cast it because of the Mox Chat. Like, it's going to take me a while. So maybe I actually keep silent clearing and get rid of Snuff Out and Flage and have this as a redraw into like an actual threat, because Flage doesn't actually do anything in this matchup. So wait, oh, no, I clicked mulligan instead of keep. Okay, I'm gonna keep this one. Because I have to. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of Nethergoyf. Let's get rid of Dagger of Quarry Steel, which I can't cast, or Bombardiers, which I can't cast. I think I'm gonna get rid of Bombardier. Actually, let's get rid of Long Goodbye, Nethergoyf. Uh, uh, Bombardiers is kind of tough because I need more material for it to be good, but I also need more spells for Core Steel to be good. Like, is it likely that I'll ever double spell in this entire game? I don't think so. I think I have to get rid of Core Steel here. Wow, that's tough. I misclicked and I really wish I didn't because I actually think that first hand was kind of interesting, but um interesting. Static Prison, Conjurer's Bauble, Azoria Signet into the Floodmaw. So this game is not going to come down to mana, I think, from either of us. I think it's going to come down to amount of answers they have for the threats that I end up drawing. I think I'm actually going to get rid of Conjurer's Bauble here. Signet's good, nice and good and all, but I'm not killing them anytime soon, so like they're probably going to draw into more mana artifacts. This is the only card that lets them redraw. Static Prison does deal with my first threat, but I don't really know if I can play around that. I think I just need to get rid of the Bauble here, get rid of their redraw. Uh, then I'm going to pass the turn here. This might be a quick one, so I might ask Goyf if they want to play again. Yeah, really unfortunate missing that misclicking there. Fled Strand was a really good draw though. Lets us find a surveil land that activates our Sunbillow Verge. Also lets us play Bombardiers next turn, which like any points of damage that I can do matter. I guess Flage in that last hand matters a little bit because you do get to do 3 to your opponent, but I think the redraw probably would have been better in that last hand, but it is what it is. Okay, this is my end step. They got rid of Chrome Mox, and they don't have a polluted Delta anymore. Gloom Lake, play the Signet. Yeah. Okay. So I know into the Floodmaw, Static Prison. I'm just gonna fetch now. So we're gonna grab do we grab Shadowy Backstreet? How many double red cards do I have? I have Fury. Am I playing any double black cards? Palace Jailer, but I'll be getting white regardless. There aren't really any double white, black, or red cards in this deck beyond Fury, so and Carnage Interpreter. So let's just get the Shadowy Backstreet, I guess. What does Stoneforge find in our deck? Pre-war Formalware, Skull Clamp. Uh, what else? Is there a Lion Sash? I need to look at this deck list. Give me a second. Let's see here. Let's see. So I could get Corey Steelcutter, Pre-war Formalware, or Skull Clamp. Um, this is pretty interesting, I think. Clamp is so medium because I don't have any way of getting things going. I could get pre-war Formar because they do kind of have to kill Bombardiers at some point. Let's keep this on top. I think I kind of am forced to keep like action on top in general. So now the question is, do I want to play the Stoneforge first or do I want to play Bombardiers first? I think I'm gonna play Stoneforge first, and then I just have to decide what I'm actually getting with it. Um, but let's take a look. It's either Skull Clamp, Corey Steelcutter, or Pre-War Formalware. Uh, so they don't have any way of getting rid of a creature that puts it in the graveyard. So Pre-War is actually a little worse. Because the equip cost is 3. I think I might be just on Skull Clamp. It could be a potential Corey Steelcutter. Now that I am in a position where I might actually be able to draw like draw into another one or two drop and then eventually double spell with the Corey Steelcutter, that might be better. On the other hand, Skull Clamp does allow me to provide like a little more pressure. And it allows me to sacrifice my Stoneforge next turn with Broadside Bombardiers if they decide not to static prison my Stoneforge. I think I'm gonna get Skull Clamp here. I think it's like just good enough. Although it isn't really ideal. Again, we mulligan to 4, so yeah, like even next turn if I draw land, I can like equip Skull Clamp onto Stoneforge Mystic, play Broadside Bombardiers, Bombardiers, my Stoneforge, draw 2 cards, deal them 4 damage. Like that's a really good exchange if it happens, but they still have this into the Floodmaw sort of bailout here. They might commit more resources to the board though this turn. Because I don't really have a clock on them, they actually have like a pretty decent amount of time. So it doesn't look like they did, although I guess I can, if I draw land, I can force the Into the Floodmaw here. Even Mind Sensor is a pretty interesting draw. Um, the question is, do I want to pop up? Do I want to fire off even Mind Sensor right now or not? If I don't equip Skull Clamp, they're gonna know that I have something in hand, like something relevant in hand. I might have another equipment in hand. If I play Broadside Bombardiers, then I this Into the Floodmaw is going to be good regardless. So I guess the question is like, do I feel like this Broadside is going to punish them and push them to cast the Into the Floodmaw? I think I have to try it because otherwise, if they hold up 1 mana for the rest of the game, the Save and Mind Sensor doesn't actually do anything. And so they might Into the Floodmaw this Broadside now, and now I can hold up Aven Mind Sensor next turn and wait for a tutor. Unfortunately, this means they do have the green light to tutor on this following turn, and they're obviously like really far ahead because I mulligan to 4. But you know, you got to play to your outs. Yeah, I was really hoping they'd develop there. Solve the equation. Okay. So if I draw land, I can. Oh, they got Cabal Ritual. Interesting. Okay, so I can Bombardiers, equip Skull Clamp, draw 2 cards, deal them 6 damage. Or I can hold up Aven Mind Sensor, equip Skull Clamp to Stoneforge, and hit them for 2. I think I'm gonna hold up Mind Sensor. Um, I am sort of signaling that I might have something here. Um, but I really want to get this bird into play, and then the following turn I can actually do quite a lot of damage with Bombardiers plus Mind Sensor plus the Stoneforge. Like if they do nothing this turn, then I can Mind Sensor, untap, play Bombardiers, attack, hit them for 6, and then hit them for another 4, which puts them to 6. And that makes going off a Citadel really hard, which means they'd have to go for like a potential will line if they are playing Yawgmoth's Will. It's awkward because they know I have Broadside Bombardiers in hand, so like I realistically have to um yeah. Or rather they basically know I have some way of interacting. What that way is, they aren't really aware of. Could be like Ophelia too. Like Ophelia could be good enough to just play. Okay, they have Bullis' Citadel. Um, Interesting. I guess I just wait to try and respond uh to a tutor. This have natural Bullis' Citadel in hand. That makes sense. That's why they would have gotten Cabal Ritual. Okay, so I am gonna play this Mind Sensor because I have to. and they just pass the turn. So that means that they probably have land on top, or just something that they can't really cast. Um, I'm gonna play Bombardiers here, and I'm gonna hit them for 6, and then I'm gonna throw Stoneforge to try and hit some more action, maybe a discard spell. I don't think I have any ways to get rid of Citadel once it's in play. Like that costs 1 or 2 mana, so Seasoned Engineer doesn't really do enough here. I'd rather get the damage in and get some cards going. I'm really glad I played the Bombardiers earlier, because if I hadn't, then they would probably still have Into the Floodmaw right now. An alternative option is I could send Mind Sensor at them and put them to 5, but I think it's higher percentage to force them to both deal with the Mind Sensor and also it's only 1 point of damage difference. Long Goodbye and Bitter Triumph, not really where you want to be. I can't equip this Skull Clamp onto the Mind Sensor because I really want that effect in play. So I'm just going to equip the Skull Clamp to the Broadside Bombardiers and hit F6 and let them go from there. I guess they do have Static Prison, so they can just Static Prison the Mind Sensor from hand. But they're only at 6 life, so they don't actually have, like... They might not have, like, a lot of ways to actually get there, because they have, what, Static Prison plus 2 unknowns in hand currently. So they could potentially be pretty heavily relying on the top of their deck, and if that's the case, then we might be able to squeeze this one out. They did also mulligan to 6 for what that's worth. So like the mulligan to 4 was bad, but it wasn't at like nearly as bad as it could have been. Okay, they're transmuting Drift and just hoping to hit, so they missed. I think they should have Static Prisoned before they transmuted Drift. Maybe they to win the game they can't spend the mana on Static Prison to actually get rid of the Aven Mind Sensor. It would depend on their hand, but sometimes combo decks work that way, where you just like can't afford to spend the extra mana to actually remove the threat that you would need to remove. Oh, camera nerves are crazy. Might be. Yeah, and for what it's worth, Goif, if you're watching this in the future, I really appreciate that you're down to play um, on camera. I know that it can definitely be more nervy, but luckily this is just for some like fun games. And I think you're overall, it seems from my perspective that you're playing pretty well, and you know the deck well. So um, I think you played that first game really well, and it was really hard to tell what you were on to. Okay, so this hand has a bunch of cards that don't do a lot. Molten Collapse can be reasonable, but Swords and Dismember are pretty rough, and I don't really have a clock, and I'm missing lands, so I'm gonna mulligan here. Um, Comet is okay. Archon is good, but I don't really have a way of getting to Archon particularly fast. Unearth is not really that great. Pre-War is okay, but I think I probably need to mulligan this hand. Um, this is one of those hands where Mishra's Bauble is actually really rough. It just like missing that key information of what that 7th card is can be a deal breaker. Like if this hand had a 2-drop, I think I'm probably like pretty happy to keep it, or at least happy enough. But because I don't really know if I'm going to be playing anything until turn 3, I just don't know if I can like play this matchup where I'm not interacting for the first like 2 turns of the game. This hand really similar to the one that we saw before, except it does have a Stoneforge Mystic, and the Molten Collapse like can be relevant enough that I think I'm supposed to keep this hand. I think I'm okay to get rid of pre-war Formware here and Swords to Plowshares. I don't think that Citadel plays any creatures, so I'm just gonna get rid of those and make sure that I hit my land drops here. And let's see if I can take it down with Mardu, or if Citadel's gonna get the best of me. They did mulligan to 6, so this 5 isn't as bothersome as it could be. Let's just play this polluted delta here. Carnage Interpreter was a pretty reasonable draw. Um, this is also I cut Lion Sash from the deck, but this is like a case where Stoneforge Mystic into Lion Sash would be a lot better than anything else I could be doing a lot of the time. Like, even though this deck isn't necessarily a graveyard combo deck, you can see like if I was playing against a graveyard combo deck where Stoneforge, where I drew Stoneforge, like the night and day difference between having a Lion Sash and not having one uh, can be pretty large. Um, I don't think the One Ring is really where I want to be. Like 4 mana is a lot. I'm probably gonna be pretty incentivized to play this Carnage Interpreter on turn 3, so I'm gonna bin this One Ring and see if I can find anything better. Sundering Eruption's not the worst. I think I am going to just play Stoneforge this turn. It's a little slow, but like I kind of want to just try and get a clock going. I don't know if Citadel plays basic lands. If they don't, it would be like very correct to Sundering Eruption one of their lands next turn. But if it does play basic lands, then it's not really that great of a play. Like spends my whole turn, doesn't really do a whole lot, isn't that impactful. Dress down pretty good there. Like they were gonna cycle it anyways, so they just get to eat my my Stoneforge trigger for free. This doesn't kill the talisman, but maybe they play something that does. Okay, Imp Seal. Oh, they put it on top. Wow. Okay, so if I Sundering Eruption, they can not search, but then I get to kill one of their lands. And if they do have a basic, they can't get it without killing the card on top of their library. So let's fetch here. We'll complete the trifecta. We'll get the plateau. Then let's kill their only blue source. And hopefully they did they search? This is a chooses declines to use the ability. Okay, so my guess is that they imp sealed for Tinker potentially, but they don't have we know they don't have a third land because they didn't play one. I mean, they might have a third land. They could have like an MDFC that they chose not to play because they felt like it might be more worthwhile afterwards or later. But they could also just be playing a Signet or Profane Tutor. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so I need to remember that this Profane Tutor is chilling. Okay, so we have Carnage Interpreter, Helping Hand, Molten Collapse. I mean, realistically, we're just gonna play the Interpreter and then get in and hope that we are fast enough. For what it's worth, I think Citadel is a really complicated combo deck to play. Like, I think there's probably some really straightforward, simple lines, but when you're under the gun, like what you do with the resources that you have, looks to me to be pretty interesting. I haven't had a chance to play the deck yet, but I'm acquiring cards as we speak to try and get it in paper so I can give it a spin. Um, I also just really respect the deck. Like I think the deck is really really strong. Let's fetch here. Okay, so we have our last Surveil land. We'll get this Shadowy Backstreet, and we'll bin this Fatal Push. So we get a couple redraws into potentially getting some action here. I think I'm gonna play the Blazemire Verge and then redraw with a clue token before we go to combat. Because if I do hit something like a Broadside Bombardiers, I am gonna want to play it and attack them. Long by not exactly where we want to be. Let's Let's just get in for 6. And then we're going to crack a clue token and hope to draw some sort of 1-mana creature. I think I'm going to keep up Raucous Theater because I could draw Ragavan, or I could draw a discard spell. And hopefully this isn't something that makes it so my Carnage Interpreter doesn't attack that well next turn. But I think we need to do the card drawing if we can here. I think I am gonna draw a card off of. So I drew a Mox Pearl, and I'm gonna play it, and I think I am gonna draw a card off the Clue token. If only because I have Mox, or not Mox, sorry. It's been a long day. I have 2 baubles in my deck, and having those slow draws be really bad later, I think is worse than the likelihood that I'm not able to play all the cards that I draw off of the clue tokens, because I really do want to make sure that I'm hitting them for 5 with this Carnage Interpreter. And my guess is that I'm getting they're getting blue land for Tinker here, because they probably already have Tinker in hand because they Imperial sealed earlier. Oh, Chrome Mox, yep. Chrome Mox probably better because it adds to your storm count. So if you end up having to do a short tendrils after tinkering, um, like let's say they Citadel here, like Tinker gets Citadel, and then they hit like a 1-drop and then a tendrils, they get to tendrils for 8 instead of tendrilsing for 6. Wishclaw Talisman good, but they can't actually activate it unless they hit a mana source. They do have a land drop though. Oh yeah, getting Chromox also keeps a land drop, so that's really relevant here. Um, Interesting. They played the Watery Grave tapped, I guess because they have Mox Opal for Wishclaw. So now if they, I think it's interesting. I think they could have played Watery Grave untapped, activate Wishclaw Talisman, get Personal Tutor, then Personal Tutor get Tendrils me. Does that do it? 8. So they'd be missing one storm. Interesting. I could have left up mana. Oh no, they give you Wishclaw tapped, so it doesn't even matter. Noxious Revival targeting Tinker. Now they Tinker for Aetherflux Reservoir, and then they cast a 0-drop from their hand. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. This is pretty good because even if they don't win the game here, I'm like a lot farther away from winning the game than I was last turn. But I do get to go get a Wishclaw. Like I get to search for with Wishclaw. Yeah, I think they were 1 storm short last turn because I think if they take 2 off the Watery Grave, they go to 4, and then they can't cast Tendrils because they've taken too much damage at that point. Wow, this deck is super complicated and really fascinating, and I'm sure that Goif is feeling the pressure of playing on camera. So I want to thank them again. This was a little short notice, and we needed to film some content for Monday. So I really appreciate them jamming. I don't know if I want to Wishclaw right now. Well, let's see. If I Wishclaw, I can get Bombardiers, and then do I just win the game on the spot if I go down cards? Let's see. 1 plus 5 is 6 plus 2 from Bombardiers plus 2. Yeah. Okay. Let's just Wishclaw here. They could have something on top of their library, so I need to keep that in mind. So I could get like, I'm trying to think, can I get something that wins the game this turn, but also is something that is disruptive to my opponent? I could Clarion Conqueror. I don't think that really works though. I don't have any way of killing like both of their artifacts. I could just kill Citadel. potentially if I have anything to do that. I don't think I'm playing like an Abrade though in this list. This list is like really, really tight. Um, since I'm not playing Abrade, I can't actually kill the Citadel. I don't have any way of getting rid of it as far as I can tell here. Prending doesn't work. Flage doesn't work. Okay, I think it has to be I think it has to be Bombardiers here. Uh I think I should have cast my Faithless Looting first. Um because then I could have potentially drawn Bombardiers or something that like I can present lethal with, and then I would have been able to do that plus present lethal. Like I could have thought seized them, for example, to make sure the coast was clear. Um and then try to present lethal here. Prismatic Ending was a great draw. And wow, those were really good games, Goif. Yeah, GG's. Yeah, I really appreciate you, Goif. I really love this deck, and I think you piloted it well from my perspective. Obviously I didn't get to see your hand, but yeah, wow, being one short of that Tendrils line. A little happy after realizing I couldn't transmute End Prison plus cast a 3 game 2. So I didn't put as hard as punt as hard as well. Yeah, the deck is super complicated. I was talking about lines, and there were so many. Oh, I guess our match. Oh, GG's. Well, Goif will see this regardless. So if you want to chat about our games, like feel free to reach out to me. Um, but yeah, really good games. I think the showcase for I think the showcase for when you play a combo deck, you just get a bunch of free real estate in the first game, especially if they don't know what you're on. Even there, like I was making decisions based on Goif potentially being on a combo deck that on one of many combo decks. So and they were able to capitalize on it and take that first game, and then accidentally mulliganing and then winning on a game to 4 is something I don't know if I've ever done before, but but we could like strike that one off on the scoreboard. Let's take a look at my deck really quickly here. I'll boom. This will be posted in the comments, and I'll do a deck tech for it as well. I didn't change it from the last time I played Mardu. I think one of the things that I really want to do when I'm just exploring and discovering a deck in Highlander is really trying to find a list that seems pretty reasonable or pretty close to what I feel is optimal, and then just playing it a bunch, even if I think those cards might be worse and worse as I'm playing with the deck. Like I want to come to finer conclusions. So a great example of that would be the Unearth cards, like Unearth, Helping Hand, Pre-War Formalware, etc. Those cards I added because I felt like I wanted some of that Death and Taxes feel, where I play an Archon of Emeria and then you kill it and I get it back with Pre-War Formalware. But currently I'm not super happy with them. But if I was playing really grindy games, I might be a lot happier with them, right? So I think when you're trying decks in Highlander for the first time, you should really try to get a full scope of like, how does the deck feel in a bunch of different matchups? And then you can figure out later what you care about tuning for. Because with white, red, and black, like there are definitely a lot of cards I could be playing to make my combo matchups better, right? So if I do feel like I'm walking into a room full of combo, I can toss in things like Deep Cavern Bats, Tide Hollow Scullers, more generic discard. I can play more White Hate Bears, which I think are generally speaking the best answers to combo. Like I could be playing Thalia and go more of like a Mardu Creatures route. But I really wanted to play this like mid-rangey version and try it again, even though I put it down a little over 4 months ago, just to see like how it would perform and how it felt in the current Highlander environment. And I think there is something there. I don't know if the version that I'm playing is necessarily where you'd want to be, especially since I'd say I'm like an okay deck builder, but I'm not like a great deck builder. So I just like I've seen some Mardu lists around, and I wanted to give it a shot on my own. But I think there's definitely a lot of room for exploration here within whatever I have in my list, and I'm sure there's a lot of cards that would be good that I might not even be including. Uh, but thank you for watching. As always, if you like the content that we are putting out, hit the subscribe. I'm really bad at this YouTube thing. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see more like it. Uh, if you like the video, feel free to like it. And then for the comments, I'd actually be really interested to hear from people who have played against or who have played Mardu, or even just like people who have ideas for what this deck could potentially include or maybe get rid of. I'd be really interested to chat in the comments about it or to hear other people's takes on it, because I think Mardu is a space that I haven't really explored that much, and I think it might be a little underexplored in the community. I'm sure there are people that have been working on it, but in terms of the community at large, I don't know if Mardu is something that people are really thinking about beyond, like, say, Jason's Mardu tokens deck from last year. So I'd really love to hear what people have to say about like what cards they found impressive, what they haven't found impressive, like maybe like potential meta picks, or even just again people who maybe haven't even played Mardu but have an idea like, oh, you should probably include this card. I'd love to hear from you. So leave those comments down below, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. But as always, thanks for watching, and peace.